What fact did you learn at an embarrassingly late age? I learned that I grew up in a white trashy family around 10 through television. One night, I was watching TV and Jeff Foxworthy came on. I was a very content-only child who, to the best of my knowledge, got everything they ever wanted and had no idea about things could needed to be otherwise. Well, old Jeff was well into his skit and I was avidly listening. If you watch TV on a TV that sits on top of a broken TV, you might be a redneck. Wait. What? I'm watching TV sitting on top of a broken TV. If you have a broken down car sitting in your front yard that hasn't been moved in years, you might be a redneck. We have 5 of those. WTH, this isn't normal. If you have appliances in your yard. If you've got shacks in your yard. If you live in a trailer next to a house. If etc. You might be a redneck. I looked around and painfully realized that I was living all of those things. So, that was the day I found out I was a redneck. It's called metal because it's harder than rock. I was 23 on a trip with my girlfriend in San Francisco. We were both getting ready for the day in the bathroom and I needed my hair gel. So I asked if she could hand me my toilet treat bag. She seemed confused. I again asked, "Can you please hand me my bag of toilet treats?" She ran out of the bathroom laughing. TLDR, I thought toiletries was toilet treats. SMH. My ex-wife did not know helicopters could hover until around age 23. She saw a copter over a scene in San Diego and asked me, how is that helicopter just floating in one spot? I was like, what? Ex-wife. When I was a young boy I had a black football coach. I'm white. I asked him, "Hey coach, do black people get hotter in the sun than white people?" And he responded, "Well, I don't know, I've never been white." And then it hit me. I always bragged that I beat my dad at basketball when I was 4 or 5. So much so that it never occurred to me that he let me win until I was in my late teens. Late. Edit. I wouldn't have been so proud of this incident if he always let me win at things instead of motivating me to improve. Now would I? Sign of a good dad. I have some friends in their 30s who think behaving means being halved. That's halved pronounced like shaved. They will ask their own kids, "Are you being have?" Like have means good. I want to correct them, but I don't. Full stop. Just talked to a co-worker the other day who didn't know his name was Jason until 3rd grade. His initials were JT and his family called him by that, and so he thought that was his name. During roll call in class the teacher was asking for a Jason and he just sat there thinking some sucker is late for class. Then the name JT was never called and confusion ensued. For most of my life I assumed Neil Armstrong was a black man, because I'd never seen Neil outside the spacesuit. But I had seen Louis Armstrong. It never occurred to me that there would be anything unusual about a black astronaut in the 60s. Edit. It truly warms my heart to know I was not alone in this childhood misunderstanding. I thought Ben Crosby was black until I was in my late 20s. I'm not sure why. Never saw a picture of him. And maybe the similarity to the name Cosby. My best friend freshman year asked me how accurately a man had to jizz on a woman's breasts to get her pregnant. Boy, was that a surprise to him. It's for all intents and purposes. Not for all intensive purposes. Learned at age 30. Thanks Reddit. Pickles come from cucumbers. So do some girls. I thought I feel like a dog in heat meant that you felt uncomfortably warm. Like a dog in hot weather would feel. I was in the back of my friend's Suburban on a road trip through Southern California when her parents asked if we wanted them to turn on the air conditioning. Yes. Please. I feel like a dog in heat. There actually are carrots in carrot cake. I assumed it was a joke because it's orange and we were all in on it. It's sad how much I'm learning in this thread. Think of all the potentially embarrassing moments of ignorance you'll be able to avoid now. I didn't know that dusters were used for cleaning dust off furniture until I was in middle school. When I misbehaved, my mother would beat me with a duster, so I assumed its only purpose was to be a beating stick. I figured the fuzzy part of it was to provide comfort for my mother's hand as she hit me. I only learned this year that ponies aren't just baby horses. Wait, what? Baby horses are foals. Ike. To be a pony, a horse has to be less than 58 inches at the shoulder blade. I was 34 before I realized that the Beatles spell their name Beatles because it has the word beat in it. I never really considered it before. Just kind of thought it was a funny way to spell Beatles. I was 23 when it came to my attention that an engagement ring and a wedding band are two separate things. Isn't one expensive symbol of uniformity enough? Don't forget the third ring, the suffering. Sorry. Had to. I didn't know that sex required motion until I was 18. I didn't understand an erection or ejaculation. I thought you just stuck it in and went to sleep. And that was sex. My husband doesn't let me live this one down. Once you've been married for a while, this is almost exactly how it works. Until the age of 14. I thought Princess Diana was a famous marine biologist. They always called her the Princess of Wales, so. I was a few months away from turning 17 and The Dark Knight was coming out. I checked IMDb to see what actors and characters would be in it. And that's when I learned that Harvey Dent's evil nickname is Two-Face. Not toothpaste as I had always thought. I never saw the name written down. In the animated series, half his face was white and the other half was blue, and I just never really questioned it. One time in 7th grade science, my class was having a discussion about volcanoes and then out of nowhere, a kid in the back yelled in the most surprised voice ever, "Wait. Volcanoes are real?" A coworker was helping me move something outdoors and he suddenly is staring at the sky bewildered. I asked if he was okay and I shit you not. He says, "Whoa. I can see the moon and it's day." He's 24 and I had no idea how to respond to that. Until I was 17 I thought getting knocked up just meant having sex. As a guy, this was an awkward thing to wish upon myself. Man. I wish Sarah would knock me up. Like real good. My uncle was in England during the war. A girl asked a policeman to come knock her up at 8 AM tomorrow. Meaning, to knock on her door and wake her up. At least that's what he assumed. Freshman year. I had never been told what 50 Shades of Grey was about. So I assumed it was about the Holocaust. It just sounded like it was about the Holocaust to me. Don't really know why. There is a book called Between Shades of Grey. And I believe it's about the Holocaust. Correct me if I'm wrong. Edit. It's not about the Holocaust but it's in that time period. That there is more than one whale called Shamu. I was in my mid-20s. Had just moved to Texas. And a SeaWorld commercial came on. I mentioned how surprised I was that they shipped Shamu all the way across the country just to make appearances here. My wife and mother-in-law still won't let me live it down. That the tuna isn't a little bitty fish, but a really big fish. Until January of 2014, when I was 28. I thought that the 7 seas were the 7 seas, meaning the 7 continents. That the female urethra does not exit at the clitoris. At least you know that the female urethra exists. The number of people out there who think women pee from their vages is too damn high. I always thought the song I saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus meant that the mother was having a torrid affair with a fat dude in a red suit. Not that it was the father dressed in costume. A week ago I finally made the connection that the hood is short for the neighborhood. I'm 23. Somehow the conversation of superhero names came up with my girlfriend, 29, the other day. And she mentioned Wolverine being named after wolves. I kinda looked at her and said Wolverine was named after wolverines. She stared back blankly. One Google Images search later and I had taught a biology major about a new animal. I just learned a few months ago that lightning does not happen when 2 clouds touch each other. That was a very sad and very disappointing day. When I was a young kid I thought attractive people and celebrities didn't have toes. I thought their feet were perfect like the feet of a Barbie. I wanted to be famous so I could have feet like a Barbie. I thought toes were gross. Chocolate milk doesn't come from chocolate cows. I thought there were chocolate cows until I was a college senior. How to tie shoes. When I was little and my mother tried teaching me, I simply said I didn't feel like it. This charade continued until she just gave up. Years of Velcro shoes ensue. In the 7th grade, my older sister sat me down and said something along the lines of, "You need to ducking know how to tie your shoes." And that's when I learned to tie my shoes. I still suck at it. I take a good 30-45 seconds per shoe. It's bad. Edit. I'm a lefty. Edit 2. Misread title. Didn't see the word fact. Apologies. I still suck at tying shoes though. For the longest time, I had no clue what depression really was. I always thought you could fix it by getting cheer up messages or change of scenery or just basic things that cheer most people up. I didn't really understand that depression doesn't just mean you are sad, but more that it feels like something is missing inside of you. It feels as though you lose the ability to enjoy the things you used to, because you feel detached from those things and they simply don't feel the same way as you once felt. I used to think I was good at cheering up my ex who had depression. I thought if I made her smile or took her to something she enjoyed, she would no longer be depressed and I would fix her. I didn't understand that her smile was temporary, which was replaced with the emptiness feeling. And she didn't enjoy the places I took her as much because they didn't feel the same. I'm pretty embarrassed that I didn't understand a thing about depression for the longest time. I still can't say I understand it, but I do know that my view of it was wrong. And the first step of knowing is learning. I thought that when people lose a body part their organism could regenerate the missing part until I was 13 plus. If I saw someone with a half of an arm missing, I thought, good sheet. His arm is almost complete. That the word teenager comes from the teen and the numbers 13 to 19. Maybe I'm a moron. I don't know. But I'd never made that connection before. I found out when I asked my friend, age 20, when do you stop being a teenager? You will not guess what his reaction was. That planes have headlights. I hope they keep the headlight fluid topped up. I thought the term prima donna was prima donna. I always wondered what happened before her that would demand a new term. A friend also asked me why Ellen was named Ellen DeGeneres. He said, I get that she is generous, but she isn't that noteworthy. It's not like she's Alexander the Great or something. Difference between foreshadowing and foreplay. Grandmother was amused. Mom was mortified. I renamed a goldfish Rainbow when I was 7 because it kept changing color every few months. I told friends about this fish for years like it was some mystical kaleidoscope fish. It hit me in the face a couple months ago that the fish wasn't changing color. My parents were just replacing it when it died without telling me.